Fuck is up, gamers? Your boy the Goose. We're here for episode number 33 of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Last episode, I said that this is gonna be the last one I recorded tonight. You have no idea what the fuck I'm even talking about, probably. Because originally I was gonna go. I'm like scheduling these, and I'm like doing them really far in advance. But on some real shit, I think what I'm gonna do, I think I'm just gonna keep rolling, because I'm kind of in the middle of it. So in the last episode, we discovered he moved the crime scene so they could go on their anniversary dinner, which is crazy.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only two people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a lot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
My lord.
Yes, Lord Van Zix.
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir. Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of me, really? What will happen to him?
For now, you're free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please don't punish my husband. It was my fault. That's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable.
Sir!
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson into your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say?
Leave now. This trial is not yet over.
Sir! Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Saseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed this crime.
Objection! No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution's already well aware of this possibility already. Lord Van Zix, is this true?
Very well. Name this person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
Yeah, let me definitely go ahead and save. Because I know who it is.
Well, name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
I'm so sorry, Joan. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Joan. The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it is imperative that we cross-examine the juror number 4, Miss Joan Garadeb.
Me, oh dearie me.
Objection. That request has already been denied.
Objection! Well, the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this. What do you say I thought I was talking to her. Oh my god.
What do you want now, you little toad?
The time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited, and to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top-hinge casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During this argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you do not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back. Have you really never laid eyes on it before? Hey, yo? Hey, yo, Big Mama? Hey, yo, you know something about that knife?
I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury need to testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection. No, I have no recollection of saying all that. Juror number 4.
Oh,
Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
but that's just a common garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that?
You're joking.
What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb?
Hey, what the fuck are you saying?
Now you listen to me! I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove it. Come along now, chop, do your worst.
Well,
Oh, Mr. Dorado.
if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already.
Then take the stand, juror.
Oh,
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman.
Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks.
I am going to have to testify. Juror number 4, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, having observed it with your very own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truth being unearthed, truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Oh, dear me. So I demand a full unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb, and mark my words, in this court of law today we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord.
That's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Yo, is our guy Van Zeeks helping us out? Did he come back because this is fun for him? No, because that shit he said earlier about you want me to get rid of him, I think he has fun. I think he likes being the Reaper of the Bailey. I think this is all a game to him. I genuinely believe he enjoys this. Such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving this country, it actually feels real. I'm here, in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer! No, 100% this is just fun for him.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garadeb, and I'm a juror and such like.
It's not like she doesn't even know she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam? Yes, my lord.
You'll tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me.
Chin up, Joni, nothing to worry.
Chin up, Joni, nothing to worry about now. I wanted to know you were here, John.
Yeah, I didn't know John was here either.
Was it only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather, I ought to testify as well, don't you?
Yo, this is the end. This is the music. Yo, turning up the music right now. Turning it up right now.
But what about your knee, dear? Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. I presume you're Mr. John Garadeb?
Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant for the Star Regiment of 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my first time of action, now living the quiet life, as it were.
The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question?
Well, yes, quite.
I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to a witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror, number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question.
Sir, at once!
Yo, we're getting to it. We're getting to the bottom of it. This is it. Witness testimony. This is it. Oh, God. I like pulled a muscle in my chest this morning. Oh, it's still fucking bothering me.
Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. I can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of noise around our place. I can't say I noticed if one or two went missing, I'm afraid.
That bloody thing right in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'd have a job proving it, I think.
Yo, we're cooked. I don't have anything.
It sounds as though there was quite the battlefield in your house that evening.
Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems.
The enemy caught us out of hop, sir, and no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept showing us for another minute, we'd have been toast.
I want toast so bad right now, I'm hungry. Ooh, I'm hungry.
Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware on every battlefield you just announce whiskers from death at any moment.
Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife.
In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer any more than they've already testified. This may be a dead end.
Van Zeeks may well be right. Can I haven't even bothered to look at this thing the whole time. That definitely...
Oh, look, Mr.
Jesus Christ.
Look here, Mr. Naruto. Just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
You're right. Well spotted, Miss Susato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yes, you don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
They're not going to add that to it?
Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruto.
Yeah, this is it. This is the last thing.
Very well, counsel. We can do cross-examination.
I bet. I think I have to start by just pressing everything. Is what I think I have to do. Because let me go ahead and press that. The reason is what you told us yesterday, Mr. Garadeb.
Yes, that's right, if I remember correctly. It all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garadeb.
A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garadeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Hell on earth.
I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway. Unlikely story.
These waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Alright. Okay. And the fire also spread some items with furniture, didn't it?
The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you'll put yourself in. Or the three-story townhouse on the west end of the street where the water main isn't connected yet. I have to draw water from public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning they can't get any water at night. That little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew pots of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
I believe he uses all his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough.
Okay, alright, okay. Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time. There's no point to extinguish my anger in the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true for Susato takedown, Mr. Naruto.
Actually, no, I was also thinking that. I knew the second she came on screen we were going to talk about the Susato takedown. So please, cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall, but I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see, some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel. sponge, a napkin.
What do you have to say, man? Something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb!
Don't shoot. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind?
Nothing of significance, no. The barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is on... Good grief, woman! Want it home now? This is a court of law!
Oh dearie me, ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with the teapot in here?
Obviously, John, I would have never found such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose this happened, Your pipe, sir.
And this thing in my hands as usual at the time of the onslaught. Want to clean out one of her soft projectiles she did, yes? And when I went to pick the thing up, it's broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see, your pipe was broken. And it never would have been set flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I made a bandage the thing up for now.
You want to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
Yeah, it was definitely the knife. It could be important. The defense believed Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great significance. That's my objection.
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed, common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, will you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with the young lady.
Alright, calm down.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Yo, watch the piece of the knife actually be in there. No, actually, hold on. Hold on. Hold on, shut up. Everybody shut up. Hold on, shut up. Let's pull Nick out of the bowl here. Look, it appears to be made relatively recently. See little scrapes and dental over? It's clearly a well-loved pipe. Yeah, you're right. It seems to me recently that being well-loved goes hand-in-hand with getting some battle scars. Particular Nick is catching my eye, though, because it's clearly new. Ah! Ah! Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe.
Yes, I saw it. Something's stuck in there, I think.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this?
It's a tiny fragment of metal.
Looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. I had a feeling it was going to be involved. I didn't think it'd be in the pipe. He's actively smoking. Let me save just in case I have to present the fucking knife. Because I'm going to present the fragment of metal.
Objection!
Yeah, we're good, we're good. We're good. Mr. Garadeb, can I ask you to take a good look at this, please?
You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing.
You can't?
Used to call me Dead-Eyed Dib back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather worrying being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must be very dizzy.
What is that? A tiny scrap of metal?
Yeah, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear to be at first just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence.
Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence?
It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
My pipe, you'll say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there.
And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
I am.
Wait, that was me. I am.
What?
When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this fragment of metal to unravel the whole truth of the case, my lord. Dang, what the fuck? His entire ass side is burnt up.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court.
The knife. Take that! This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you'll see there's a small piece of the tip of the blade that's missing.
A common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
You know what's crazy? I haven't used a walkthrough this entire case so far. Like, I used it in the investigation because I was drunk, but I haven't used it in the case.
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate now, languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection. No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is a very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garradeb's pipe.
Good grief! Good fancies!
I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match.
Good gosh!
That's insane.
Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So Van Zieks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once!
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did this fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garradeb's pipe?
Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
I just stay in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dearie me!
During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garradeb flung this knife at her husband. Jesus Christ. However, the knife missed Mr. Garradeb instead of striking the pipe in his hand at the time.
Which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord!
Yes, and that's when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garradeb's pipe.
The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1!
Well, the chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1!
Yeah, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garradeb's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back of the street below.
Oh gosh, oh dear! No!
Objection.
Bro, are we good?
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument.
Sorry.
But after all, it's just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked, because you see, it's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency.
An insurmountable what?
Lord Van Zieks, explain yourself! What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
Inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back.
Yes, in her...
That's right, you silly little man!
Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about?
Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above,
There's no possible way it could have flew itself from the victim's back.
Order! Quite right, you see, that's exactly right. If the knife had fallen under from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head.
Well,
He's also words, look.
I knew it. I never liked his theory in the first place. I don't know, though. What did really happen?
It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder.
If a theory has even one consistency it cannot stand, your theory, my learned friend, is history.
We were so close, I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way's been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words...
We simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand.
Miss Susato.
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard is all. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself.
I keep thinking something's gonna come and eat me.
And this is the key to the court record. I'm sure all the information you need is there.
It seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
No, I'm not ready to give up just yet. Objection, fool. This inconsistency doesn't... It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test! Yes! If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is.
What are you implying?
Counsel!
There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency, that can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness! Utter madness! Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence for which you speak.
Okay, let me save the game. I think I can end the trial in this episode. And then there might be a lot of fucking gabbing, but it's fine. Final piece. Truth be laid bare at last. Jesus, laid bare at last. It's gotta be the book. It's gotta be the book.
Take that!
Yeah, it's the book. She bent over to pick... That's what I was thinking the whole time. She bent over to pick up the book. This, the fourth book found at the scene, is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book.
Is that not Mr. Garradib's book?
Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand.
But as we all now know, it was the police constable to put the book between her fingers like that.
Quite so, as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. Yeah, he said that it was already in her hands. Yeah. The victim was already holding the book. So he made sure it was there. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book of her own volition. And clearly it must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd been doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what might have happened now.
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garradeb household into the pavement below, at precisely the moment the victim was walking past.
Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden the book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw!
Yes, Mrs. Garradeb, and what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up.
Yes! That's exactly what the woman did! She picked up the book!
Heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, and you know it took her a while because she's big, what position... what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, complete and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the next object fell from the room above, the jackknife straight into the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Well, I never!
It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor, in the dark and the fog. He didn't see the knife falling from on her from above.
And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case! But he's mad. And they're freaked out. They're going to jail. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb?
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean.
Poor Mrs. Garadeb. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility, and let my anger get the better of me. I free that book, and I free the knife as well. John, dear,
It's all right, I know.
I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry!
That's tough. He caught her! He caught her! I know she's heavy, man. Hang in there. Hang in there! Come on, man. Live with your bad knees. Oh, he's cooked.
Lord Van Zeeks, what's the news of Mrs. Garadeb?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There's no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, their cause could have easily been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to repair themselves for the consequences of their actions.
There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had word from the hospital where the victim's being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon.
Strange, we've been talking about the victim all this time, but we never actually once met her.
How wonderful! The woman's out of danger, it seems.
Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Suzuki Natsume?
Yeah, we haven't heard from him in a minute.
Yes! On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I'd like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon.
Oh no, Mr. Natsume.
That evening, when the young woman who just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she'd been killed too.
Suppose she must have looked completely lifeless.
It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me.
Poor Suzeki-san's imagination must have really gotten the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires, and for that I'm truly sorry.
Bro?
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit had been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We had been fooled by the spirit, it led to false conclusions, but thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh!
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Yes, my lord.
in concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decision regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
As a 4-minute jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion.
I dare declare Jews can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure.
Shitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know. And I still know what the decision would be. This may not fully be able to get out of here and start work. Well, it's about time.
Say, I'll have a cork of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Did we clutch?
Not guilty.
Why does he sound like that?
Guilty.
Why does he sound like that?
Not guilty.
Yo, there ain't no way against two people that hate us, a third person that hates us. No, two people that hate us and three racists and an old deaf man. We were cooked. We had the odds stacked against us. The Reaper of the Bailey was here, and
Very well, Mr. Soseki Natsume. I hereby pronounce you not guilty!
let's fucking go. Give me that fucking confetti. Give me those fireworks. I clutched so fucking hard. So hard. I put in the fucking work.
And finally, Mr. Natsume, and yes, Lord Sir, you are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture, and may you never again be brought before me. Yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I am transported to tears. Thank you, come till the court is adjourned.
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit longer of an episode. I'm sorry. I just need to finish this up, and then we can start the next one on the episode.
Locum!
Wait, you mean me?
Of course! Is there another locum here?
Is there even one?
Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name?
Oh, at last I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Heady, hearty happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard to just say that then?
Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink!
Well, what happened to the poor woman who was in no way your... What happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault, after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now.
No, not that! Lovely, loyal locum lawyer!
Yes?
I mean, as I said before, I just never gotten used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings, and from high up windows, I see them looking down at me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback.
Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
But today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boat. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!"
Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you.
This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in my Japan. Two of my old friends back in Japan.
An antidote? Jesus! Am I stupid? An anecdote? Isn't that what's to become of all my hard work?
Ah, there you are, my dear fellows.
I knew it was him. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a great pleasure to see you.
I see I am not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh.
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck.
It's just finished.
What? No! Was my haste in vain? It's you! Look, Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom. Either your bleak lodgings or in that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light.
Charming.
This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you I've placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Ah! Has she been taken to a hospital more urgently? I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. They're but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
That's actually crazy.
I do feel very badly about how I behaved. But never mind that. Now then, what was it you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing.
Priceless! Oh, I am sorry, really, but that was quite priceless.
Poor Sazeki-san. Yeah, no, I mean, he had a point.
Still on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty.
But there is no bright side.
What do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and to die by the Reaper!
Ah, Lord Van Zeeks.
I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found guilty, you're still doomed!
It'll be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper tries to make any trouble, I'll protect you. Hi-ya!
Oh my fucking god, bro.
Ow!
With a perfectly executed Susanoo takedown.
Much like I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Mr. Zato. 41 minutes. Can we finish the fucking episode? So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan?
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh,
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honoured with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the world of the literature here and the city has shaped. And I've come to realise that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
that's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, and perhaps in less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse.
That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more strange this feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Sazeki-san could be an interesting read. And what about Miss Suzoto and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London, and only now does it feel as though we finally found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget's exhausted.
Well then, you can take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room?
Ah, but what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor and ceiling and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit.
Ah yes! It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
We'll think about it if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? You and the 10-year-old bro? I don't think I forgot about that shit.
Really?
Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Nobody's up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of.
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then?
Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening.
And you must come too, Mr. Natsume, I insist.
I don't know what to say, but thank you and yes.
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy. I would be too. We're doing good.
Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. Just shame we're going to have to say goodbye so soon.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Sazeki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode to Mr. Sholmes with Mr. Sholmes to see what was to become of our new home, 221 Baker Street. Oh my god, I would have ended the episode at the 30-minute mark if I'd known. I would have ended the episode at the 30-minute mark. So this
Used to be our new office, yes.
our office. I rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I'm not splitting it up either. I'm just gonna fucking upload it as it is. Hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now.
Say, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
How he spiffed himself up. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We'll have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid.
Oh my god. So, Mr. Norohodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help but wondering what adventures await us.
Those are precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises.
Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry. London's a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of brights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Norohodo, welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. That's the end. That's it. Now, I know what you're thinking. They make it seem like there's a lot going on. There's only one episode left. I'm letting you know right now that there's a second game. Just in case you forgot, there's a second game. And that's where all this other shit happens, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's one more episode, The Hound of the Baskervilles. We're not doing that shit now. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.